Good morning, Chaos fans, and welcome back to another riveting edition of Conversational Chaos, the intelligent ramblings between Jason and the Rage Monster. And, of course, as always, in the studio this morning is Jason.
Good morning.
And the Rage Monster, which is me. How you doing this morning, Jason?
Just peachy.
Just peachy?
Just peachy.
Awesome. So, we have to have something on the table today. My mind is totally blank, so you have a clean slate to do with as you wish.
Thanks. This is something that's happened recently, and it's taking a weird trend in my house, so I thought I would get someone else's perspective. So you have kids, young kids.
Yes.
They've lost their teeth.
Yes.
How many have gone down the drain?
None.
That's what I would think most houses are. We've had at least 3 go down the drain.
What, they're brushing their teeth and they just pop out, or?
One was brushing his teeth, didn't realize he had a loose tooth, and it fell out. That's part of the
How do you not
mystery.
know you have a loose tooth, man?
Well, I think he had told me that it felt loose a couple days before, but it didn't feel nearly that loose.
Mm.
So I guess he was half asleep in the morning when he was brushing or whatever, and it fell down the drain. Then we've had 4 go down the drain. That happened, and then probably a week and a half, my wife was brushing my daughter's teeth, and one popped right down the drain.
That's amazing.
Yeah, right down there. Then we had another one fall into the drain, but it didn't go down the drain. It got caught on like the little closer, whatever that thing's called. So I was able to fish that one out with just some sticks, toothpicks and stuff. But the second one, I'm going in backwards in chronological time. Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve, my son's brushing his teeth. Out it comes down the drain. That one was fun because it's Christmas Eve. We've got to get it out for the tooth fairy, which also came on Christmas Eve. But the person that put our house together, that built it, decided that they weren't going to just screw the pipe fittings in.
They glued them in,
They glued them in.
Oh.
So it's Christmas Eve, and I'm sawing through the pipe because I got to get this tooth out so the tooth fairy could come. It was late. It was like after 8 o'clock because the kids were going to bed. He was brushing his teeth right before bed. So now I've got this pipe sticking out of the wall because I had to cut both sides. So I had to just wrap it in plastic bags and rubber bands just to try and keep like the sewer smell and stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. But the first one was my fault because I guess my son had lost it on the way to school, like getting ready to leave for school. So my wife put it in like a little Dixie cup and put it on the counter and with water in it. Had some blood and stuff on it. So she was letting it rinse off. And I got home early that day. I was like, well, I'm going to do some dishes in the kitchen. What is this cup of water? And I just threw it in the sink doing dishes. And they came home and said, I lost my tooth today. It's like, really? Where is it? It's like, it's in that cup that was on the counter. It's like,
Uh-oh.
That was we have a garbage disposal in our kitchen.
Was it in there? Could you find it?
It was in there, but I had to like dig my hand in there and
that's just
fish all the
nasty
stuff. Yeah, it's like all the little hard bits was not.
You're sort of a germaphobe. I can imagine that was.
Well, at least those are my germs, so that's okay. When I'm getting ready to get
I don't
dirty,
know,
it's
man.
fine. But it just wasn't
food and all sorts of stuff goes down to garbage disposal.
It wasn't pleasant. Because I would just thrown all kinds of stuff in there, and it was old stuff. And it was just.
So I guess that the one question I would have had for you was, the conundrum is, do you fish the tooth out of the plumbing? And I guess in your case, the answer is yes. You fish the tooth out of the plumbing. I probably would have as well, but I believe that all of my traps are all screwed. They're not glued.
Yeah. I'm slowly going through and replacing our traps.
Yeah.
Because the one it hasn't been the same sink each time. It's been 4 different sinks. So every time it goes down one, I have to fix that trap.
Wait a second. You've lost a tooth down every sink in your house?
No, because we have more than 4 sinks. Because we have one of those, the kids' bathroom, it connects their 2 bedrooms, so it's got like the 2 sinks.
A Jack and Jill bathroom.
Yeah. So, the first one was in the kitchen, down the garbage disposal. The second one was in the left sink of my kids' bathroom. The third one was in my bathroom.
Okay.
And we also have 2 sinks. So the third one was in my side, and the fourth one was on her side.
Oh, so you still got one sink to go?
I have 2.
Oh, the powder room, I'm sure.
We have a powder room, and then we have the other sink in the kids' room. So
okay, so you got 2 to go.
2 to go.
But you still have plenty of teeth to lose,
do.
so you've got time.
Yeah. We're going to hit them all, I think. Because the other one is the one my daughter usually uses, and she's just starting to lose them. So she's got a whole set ready to go.
Oh, yeah. You should just have her like vigorously brushing her teeth over every single sink that remains.
Right.
You know,
usually late at night, so it gives me something to punch down and do.
Exactly. It gives you something to do at 10 o'clock at night when you're supposed to be sleeping.
Yeah. So here's some questions about the tooth fairy for you. We didn't want to test it. Like, what happens if you miss the night? Is the tooth fairy going to come back the next day? I don't know. So that's why I'm cutting a pipe at 10 o'clock at night.
We have had the tooth fairy not come and get a tooth on the day it was lost.
Oh, yeah? Did you have the tooth put ready for the tooth fairy?
I think the answer is yes. My older daughter lost 2 teeth in one day while we were on vacation.
Oh.
And so the girls have this special pillow, like this tooth fairy pillow.
That's what we have.
Has a little pocket on it, so they put their teeth in there so the tooth fairy can come. Well, obviously we didn't have the pillow, so the tooth fairy wouldn't have known where to come and get the teeth. So we just kept them, thinking a little sandwich bag or something in my wife's purse, and then when we got home a few days later. But it was the weirdest thing. We were at the beach. They'd been playing in the water. They came out for like lunch or snacks or whatever. And she was just eating goldfish, of all things.
Yeah.
And she was eating it. And then she looks at me and she's got blood like on her lips. And she's like, Daddy, I lost a tooth. I'm like, you didn't swallow it, did you? And she sticks her hand out. And in her hand is like this mash of bloody goldfish. And her tooth is buried in it somewhere. And she's like, oh, it's right here. As an adult, if you break a tooth or something while you're eating, you have the wherewithal to get the tooth out of your mouth without the food that's in your mouth. But as a kid, you're like, oh, I can't swallow this and I can't chew it because it's got my tooth in there. Somebody spit it out. So she just spits out this whole wad. And of course, she got it in her hand and we take it. We find the tooth, pull the tooth out, whatever.
Yeah.
But it couldn't have been an hour later. The exact same thing happened. I think it was her lower canines. Or something like that. Just both of them just happened to be loose at the same time, and they both popped out in the same day. Well, we've never lost a tooth.
Well, that's good.
No, we never lost a loose tooth. My younger daughter almost lost 3 of her permanent teeth.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
No, that wasn't good at all. She did it to herself. I can say at least it was nobody else. She was jumping in a bounce house. And just happened to jump off of something, and she was quite high. And when she hit, her knee came up and hit her in the mouth, and she hit her leg so hard she actually bit into her knee. It was like an imprint of her teeth and blood on her knee, and she knocked 3 of her permanent teeth completely loose.
Oh,
it was bad. Like if I had grabbed them and pulled, they just would have come right out. So we took her to the hospital, and then the hospital basically contacted her dentist and said, what do you want us to do? He asked the condition, and the periodontist, I don't know what the dentist that was hanging out at the hospital that day, said no, they probably stay in place. So she couldn't eat anything until we could get her to the dentist's office, which was unfortunately 2 days later.
Oh, just give her liquids or something?
Yeah, really soft stuff. Yeah, but it was really hard for her to eat anything because they were completely loose. But they put a metal band in her mouth and glued it to her teeth, and she had it for months, 3 months. In order to get the teeth to solidify back up in her mouth. But the doctor showed me the x-ray of her teeth, and you could see where the roots of one of her incisors and one of her lateral incisors were completely buckled. You could see where they just basically a compression fracture of her teeth.
Wow.
And the doctor says, well, they look fine now. They may not. If they ever start to change color, you got to come back and they'll do a root canal on it so it doesn't turn black or gray or whatever.
Oh.
Basically die. Felt really bad for her. She's my accident-prone child. Knocked her own teeth out. She's broken her right arm twice. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
It's going to get worse.
Oh, yeah,
so, anyway, we've never lost teeth, though.
Yeah, teeth bother me. Loose teeth do. When your kids' teeth are loose, do you let them, would you wait till they just fall out on their own, or are you a yanker?
I let them fall out on their own.
That's how we are. Growing up, was it the same way?
Growing up,
yeah.
I would tongue it until it fell out. I couldn't stand having a loose tooth in my mouth, so I'd literally just wiggle it back and forth and back and forth. Oh. And of course, it bleeds a lot when it's not quite ready to come out.
Yeah. But
that was me. I was a wiggler. I would sit there and just tongue it until it fell off.
So disturbing.
It is. It is kind of. This is kind of gross, but Like some people I can't stand stuff on them that doesn't seemingly belong, like scabs or something, and they just constantly like pick at them and play with them. When it comes to like teeth, certain things like that, I cannot stand it. If I had a loose tooth, I would probably rip it out. Just because of I cannot stand the wiggliness of it, because it's unnatural. It would drive me crazy. But as a kid, my parents did not pull my teeth out. I pulled them all out probably. As soon as I felt them wiggly, I would just wiggle them and just rip them out. But no, with the girls, they're not big fans of, as soon as they get a wiggly tooth, they think it's like something tragic. So they don't want me to touch it. They don't want me to look at it.
Yeah, that would be me.
Walk around with their hands covering their mouths,
My grandmother was very proactive with loose teeth. So if you had a tooth that was loose at all, she just put you in a little headlock, grabbed a hold of it, and just started yanking.
Are you serious?
Yeah. There were several times where she was just pulling, and it just wasn't ready to come out yet.
Did it come out?
No. She would just yank on it, and your head's just shaking. And she would just say, "Oh, it's not yet ready yet. We'll try again tomorrow." And you'd be like, "Oh, that just didn't feel good."
Speaking of teeth, braces now. They do braces very differently now than they did when we were a kid. I mean, I didn't have braces till I got much older. I think I was 20.
Yeah.
When I finally got, or actually, I think I was 21 when I got my braces put on. But when we were in middle school and high school, that's when kids got braces when we were younger.
Right.
And it was like some draconian sentence. You would get braces, and you would have those braces for like 5 years.
Right.
3, 4, 5, 6 years. A friend of mine had them from middle school all the way until he went to college.
Wow.
It's like totally insane, right? Well, now they do it like entirely differently.
They do.
Now it's like they do it in phases. They suggested we put my older daughter in braces when she was 6. And my wife and I refused. We said that is absolutely ridiculous to put braces on a 6-year-old kid. Because I remember how painful it was.
Yeah.
And how uncomfortable it is to have braces. I said, I do not want to do this to my 6-year-old. But kept going back to the orthodontist every 6 months for another evaluation.
Right.
And eventually we put them on her. She's 10 now.
Yeah.
And she's already done with her phase 1 of braces. And it's really not that bad. So that's kind of one of the points I want to make with this, is that it's really not that bad because their mouths are always changing when they're at this age. So their teeth are already moving. So when they put the braces on, it doesn't hurt. It's uncomfortable, just like it is anytime they used to tighten your braces, because it moves stuff when it's, at least a little set. But it's not terribly painful like it is when you're a teenager and you try to do it and your teeth are already kind of locked in place.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
When I got my braces put on, like I said, I was like 21 years old.
Right.
And at the time, the philosophy was, okay, if you need to make room, they didn't use palate expanders or lip bumpers. They didn't use anything like that. They just pulled teeth out.
Right.
That's how they did it.
I need some space, so here's how we make it.
My wisdom teeth came in. Surprise, surprise, I have a big mouth. So my wisdom teeth came in, and they didn't cause problems. My mouth was big enough to hold my wisdom teeth.
Yeah.
So the dentist was like, well, your wisdom teeth have come in, and it's not causing too many issues, so we're just going to remove a molar. So instead of removing, your bicuspids or your canines or something, they actually pulled 2 molars out on my top teeth.
Oh.
And I happen to have really, really deep roots in my teeth. They're just big. They were huge. My teeth were an inch long. Absolutely enormous. Jeez. I grew up in a really small town in northeastern New York. I think there was 2 dentists that actually practiced in town. One totally old school dentist. He'd been around a long time. He was my parents' dentist. He'd been our dentist since we were little kids.
Yeah. I
remember going to see him. He'd get these teeth removed, and of course, he numbs up your face with 14 vials of Novocaine. So I probably couldn't even feel my eyes at that point. He grabs my head with his hand and kind of just gets in there with the bulldogs or whatever those the anchors are, and just starts pulling, trying to pull this one tooth out.
Yeah.
He can't get it out. He ends up getting behind me. I'm sitting in this dentist chair, right?
No.
He gets behind me, puts me in a headlock sort of thing where my forehead is on his forearm, and he's pinching, pulling my head against his chest, and he's hard, uncomfortably hard. And then he sticks those yankers in my mouth, and he's just yanking back and forth. And as he's doing this, you hear all this crunching noise. And I just remember thinking to myself, this is really going to hurt tomorrow. And he finally gets it out, but it took him forever. to get these two teeth out because they were
Yeah.
just so deep. I will never forget that sound. That awful crunching sound.
Oh.
It's that bone crunch, but it's in your head.
Right.
You know, it's not like you're hearing it. It's off somewhere else. It's bone crunch in your head.
Was it on the top
horrible.
or the bottom?
Top.
Oh, so it is right next to your ear too.
Oh yeah, and it's literally, it was reverberating like through my skull. I could just feel the crunch.
Oh,
It was terrible.
jeez.
I can imagine if you were to get hit with a crowbar over
Yeah.
the skull and your skull were to fracture and you were to remain conscious and aware the whole time.
Yeah.
I can imagine that's what it would sound like. That awful sound. It's terrible.
Man. So take a breath for a second. So back to the braces.
Yes.
So my son has them too, my second son, and
Mm.
he just got his palate expander out and they started getting ready to make his retainer. Has your daughter gotten her retainer?
My older daughter, yes.
How long ago did she get it?
Oh, she's had it for probably almost a year.
Okay. I think when we go we use the same orthodontist, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. We do. Yeah.
So we went the other day, and you know how when you first get the braces and they've got to make the metal to go on there, they put that clay stuff in your mouth
Ugh.
and
Yeah.
it's gagging and terrible, and then it takes like 5 minutes and they got to pry that out. When you get them off, they've got to do it again to make the mold for your retainer.
Mm.
So we just went last week. They don't do that anymore for the retainer.
Oh, did they do the photo measure thing?
They do.
Oh, that is so
It
cool,
was
isn't
fantastic.
it? Yeah.
Because he was all ready. He's like, because he did not do well the first time. And he went back. He's like, yeah, we don't have to do the mold. He was so excited. But it's this cool little tool they just stick in there, and it's got like strobe light on it. And they just take this picture of his teeth. And they don't have to do anything. They just shove it in his mouth and just move it around. And the computer program just maps it all together and stitches all the pictures together on its own.
Yeah, that is really neat.
Yeah. And then they're all done. It's like, oh, that's your mouth. And you could see, it was really neat because you could see where the palate expander had rubbed up against his gums because it was all in color too.
Yeah.
And you could see where it had irritated it and how his mouth had formed. And
it was
something else.
My older daughter, I think that's what they did when she got her retainer. I think they did the
Yeah.
same thing. But when they took her palate expander out,
Yeah.
like her gums had kind of grown over part of it.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was actually kind of gruesome.
Yeah.
Because, your mouth bleeds so much because there's a lot of blood vessels. Obviously, you open your mouth, it's all red in there. There's a lot of blood vessels in there. So, of course, when they took it out, I mean, she was just like spitting blood for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
it was so nasty. But yeah, they did the same thing with my older daughter.
Yeah.
And my younger daughter is scared because she has her palate expander in right now.
Oh.
But she's getting it out probably, I'm trying to think, she has an appointment, I think, in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I think she gets it out and should be getting, she has her braces on the top.
Yeah.
Her mouth has reacted very nicely to everything.
It's amazing what it does.
And it does so fast.
Yeah.
I got to say this. It's so weird. The palate expander. When they put that in there, it's like you get done with your cranks, however many cranks you have to do on it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden your child has like an 1/8 of an inch gap between their front teeth.
Right. Like their shape of their face changes a little bit.
Absolutely.
It is weird.
Yeah. And then, within a few days, that gap kind of relaxes to almost nothing.
Yeah.
And then they put the braces on. And then, they kind of tie everything together. And it literally changes their smile.
It does.
It's kind of sad in a way.
Yeah.
It kind of takes whatever they put the palate expander in there because their palates are narrow for some reason or whatever.
Right.
But it kind of takes a narrow smile and kind of like totally broadens it out.
It does.
And it just changes their face and changes their smile. And they're not quite the same. But we don't really notice it with our older daughter anymore because we're used to it.
Right.
I mean, my wife still says, she's like, oh my, look at her face. She's like, it just looks so different. And it does. My younger daughter's face looks really different. Now, she had a pretty good overjet. She didn't have buck teeth or anything.
Yeah.
But she had a pretty good overjet that they had to correct. So, she has this thing called a Mara, which is basically forces your bottom jaw forward.
Oh,
and since she's still growing, like the mechanism behind it is it basically has these wedges back right on her back molars.
Okay.
And then the bottom part, because it comes in two parts. Top part is just wedges kind of at the top, and then the bottom part has these little metal flanges that hit these wedges and it pushes her bottom jaw forward when she closes her mouth.
Yeah.
And so the doctor basically said, with repeated motion like that, what it does is it causes bone to grow on her, where your jaw connects to your skull. At the joint there, it causes it to grow and it kind of push the jaw down and out.
Yeah.
Totally did.
Wow.
A lot.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you look at her profile, it is completely different.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is so strange to look at. But having gone through my teenage years,
yeah,
not having had braces and probably needed them,
yeah,
I'm glad that we're doing this now.
Yeah,
for them and not waiting, just because it was, I never got teased or anything, but my teeth, they weren't like horrible, but I certainly had like a internal.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, I knew that I needed braces. My parents didn't have a lot of money, so they couldn't really afford to give us. I was the only kid in my family that needed them.
Oh,
and so, but I definitely had like internal stuff going on, knowing that I needed it, and I was very self-conscious about it. Let's put it that way. So I'm glad we're doing it now for them. They don't have to go through that. And so many young kids get braces.
They do
now, young. You see 6-year-old kids running around with braces. It's like, what the heck are they doing with braces? They still got their baby teeth.
Yeah, because I think we went to, I don't know, one of those like street festivals, and the orthodontist had like booth up. Like, well, this just seems kind of odd, but whatever. They're a different kind of orthodontist too. But they were saying like, well, at 6 you should start bringing them in to see the orthodontist, and that just seemed weird because my sister got her braces and she was in high school, and that's how everybody got them.
Yeah.
But now everyone, it's like you bring them in when they're young, and it just goes so much simpler. It
does.
They should say that when they're out at these booths. That's not like when you were a kid. It's a whole lot easier. Because we delayed it too from when they first told us you should get some braces on. It's like, oh, it's so young though. Mm-hmm. But it was so much easier. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, but not since they do everything in phases.
Yeah,
which is nice. So like phase 1 for my daughter hers lasted a little more than a year.
Yeah, and
it was really because the palate expander top, no problem, braces on top, no problem, but her bottom teeth, because of the lip bumper, she had a lip bumper down on the bottom. Her bottom teeth, when they did expand out a little bit, they kind of shifted to one side.
Oh, wow.
So they decided that they wanted to correct the positioning of the bite. So they put braces on her bottom teeth, and she had those on for like 4 or 5 months, I think. So instead of it being about a year, she had them on for almost a year and a half. But now she's out of them entirely. She has a permanent retainer on the bottom for her permanent teeth. She still has a couple of baby teeth, I think. And then she just has her retainer that you can remove out of the top. But she'll have those in until she goes to phase 2, if she has to go to phase 2 when she's a teenager. But then even at that point, it'll be less than a year probably with braces, and they're done.
Yeah.
So it goes from a 6-year sentence down to a 2-year sentence pretty quickly.
Yeah, much better. All right, back to the tooth fairy.
Yeah, tooth fairy.
What do you think the tooth fairy is a boy or a girl, or is it a mix?
I think it's
not a mix on one person, but
I think it's a girl.
You think it's a girl all the time?
All the time.
Have you seen the Tooth Fairy movie
with The Rock?
The Rock?
I have not.
That's a good one.
I refuse to watch that movie.
Why?
It's just too weird.
You haven't seen it though.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't imagine that it's based on anything true, but it is an interesting take. You should watch it. How do you think they get into the house?
They're magic.
Do they have magic like Santa?
I don't know. It's like a wormhole or something. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of mystery around the Tooth Fairy.
There is. I know nothing about the Tooth Fairy.
Nothing at all?
No. She shows up, and it's a she. It's just in my mind. Tooth Fairy is a she. And she takes your teeth and leaves you money. That's really it. Yeah. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah. What does she do with all those teeth?
I don't know.
Hang them on the wall? Make stuff out of them?
Necklaces.
It's kind of gruesome.
Yeah. I don't know what she does with them.
I hope she cleans them. Something.
It's kind of weird.
Kind of saltwater bath or something.
Wait a second. I was thinking about this. Like I just said earlier, if I were an adult and I had a loose tooth, I would probably wiggle it until I ripped the darn thing out.
Yeah.
Would the Tooth Fairy come visit me?
I've lost a tooth as an adult. I had one pulled, and I didn't put it in a pillow. I just put it in a box.
You still have it?
I still have it.
You should try that.
Put
tonight.
It under my
put
pillow?
it in a pillow and see if the Tooth Fairy comes. And takes your adult tooth.
See if it leaves me anything
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's the shtick.
Maybe there's like a cutoff.
Yeah.
You can't be going to visit everybody. You think? I don't know. How many tooth fairies are there? Is it like an army of them?
No, it's just one.
It's just one?
Just one.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I think there's more than one.
Really?
Yeah, because she's not very consistent, or he does different stuff at every place.
I guess that is true. Maybe
It's
there
like-
is a whole... Oh, that's creepy. An army of tooth fairies.
Right?
All wearing tooth necklaces.
They're just hunting these teeth.
See, now this is
Something to farce.
this is where we cross that boundary from being, kid friendly. So when you had asked Beard when he was on the show whether he would like dolphins, fairies, or butterflies, I guess you could have said fairies in that case. I want a tooth fairy with blood dripping from their mouth, with eyes that are red and glowy, with pointy ears, and with a tooth necklace. That's what I want.
So you describe it like that, and it sounds kind of scary. But you know what? They have a tooth necklace. They probably have red eyes because they're up all night. They don't get to sleep very well.
Oh, that's true.
It could be evil, or it could just be they're just tired.
I'm so tired, and I bit my lip.
That's probably it. But they could be cousins of those scary fairies from Europe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Tooth fairy.
Tooth fairy. All right, so we're going to keep talking about teeth. We've been talking about teeth for half an hour.
That's all I've got on teeth.
Okay.
I really don't like teeth at all. Disturbs me.
You kind of need them, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You'd look weird without them.
Well, you could get fake ones.
You want to hear something really weird?
Sure.
My younger daughter had shark teeth.
Yeah.
You know what shark teeth are?
You find them at the beach.
No. Like, actually in her mouth.
What do you mean she had shark teeth in her mouth?
There's a condition.
All of them were like that?
No.
Just one?
Would you listen? There's a condition that they call having shark teeth. Basically what it is their baby teeth are still in and still kind of permanent, but their permanent teeth are coming up behind their baby teeth.
Yeah.
So like her bottom teeth, the few bottom teeth in the front, were still there and they were still like hard.
Yeah.
But her permanent teeth were coming up like right behind it. So she literally had 2 rows of teeth.
Oh.
And it is, I'm sorry, honey. I know you're going to hear this. Creepy looking. It is so creepy looking. And we actually have a friend that's like a dental hygienist. And we called her and we're like, hey, is this normal? She's like, oh yeah, it happens all the time.
How long did the second row stay in there? Or the first row?
It's for a substantial amount of time.
Like months?
Probably a couple of months, yeah.
Oh.
So she had literally just 2 rows of teeth.
See, when you were talking about it, I thought you meant like curved points. It's like that would be, how do you eat an apple with those? But I guess that's not the case. So that's not as weird as what I was picturing at first.
No, it's just, you got to look up some photos of shark teeth. It's just, shark teeth in children. It's just weird. We did have the intern do a fact check on the previous edition.
Yeah, these fact check lists
are
getting kind of skimpy.
Well, we did specifically tell her that we wanted more, but expected more, but wanted less. I think that's how we put it.
I think this is a little bit overboard.
Or underboard.
Yes.
It's very underwhelming. So the only thing we got back from the fact check specifically was Thor has a red cape and not, and I repeat, not a tunic. Because a tunic, and this is just a dictionary definition here, is a loose garment typically sleeveless and reaching to the wearer's knees as worn in ancient Greece and Rome. And that's really, in my head, that's what I know that a tunic is. But I think my point with Thor was it's not just a standard cape like Superman. His cape is basically stapled to the back of his shirt.
Right.
Whereas Thor, it goes all the way to his shoulders, and it is a ton of material.
Yeah.
So he could wrap his whole body in it. I think that was really the point behind it. So it's not just like a flimsy little cape that your mom tied around your neck like a towel when you were a kid so you could play Superman. That sounds terrible, Mom tying a towel around your neck. You know what I mean?
I do.
So but other than that, that's the only fact check we got. Was,
yeah. See, and I am on the it's not a tunic train, but I don't. This fact doesn't support my side at all. I don't think, because it's like a cape that goes to your knees. That's all the definition is, and this is just the definition from the dictionary.
I know.
It's kind of
we really ought to.
Because I even asked for something in particular, and we didn't get any of that.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
We asked for her to check a couple of things, but She did have a really difficult time because I think one of the things we talked about specifically was Mad Max, the original Mad Max, and how it was overdubbed in American English, and she couldn't find any information on it. But sadly, right before we started recording this morning, I was in my office and I had looked it up because she had told me she couldn't find any information on it. And of course, I found the information. And yes, it was overdubbed in American English.
Can you find the overdubbed version?
I believe so. Yeah.
That would be something to see.
I think that she had trouble because I think Mad Max Fury Road, like I wouldn't call it a reboot of the series, but kind of like a continuation of the series many years after the last one had been made, 20 years later or whatever. They're making a Mad Max video game, or they had made a Mad Max video game, and they were complaining because they wanted to hear the Australian accents, and apparently whoever the game manufacturer was just going to use like American actors to do the voicing.
Oh.
It's like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. It takes place in Australia. You'd think you would want Australian accents. So. Yeah. But other than that, no, she didn't really have anything else. She listened to it. I know she did.
Well, I guess there's that at least.
Thank you, intern, very much. We greatly do appreciate your fact-checking. And she does have this on here. It says, and a big thanks to Jason for supporting my previous fact-check. So the one that I bucked really hard about the bullets.
You know what? I still had to go back and double check that.
I still don't buy it. I mean, I know that it happens, but I think the odds are so remote that something like that is going to happen. I mean, it's got to be like a perfect storm of stuff.
Yeah, I don't. You always see it in the movies though, where the bullets are just coming down and they're going right through the car, and I guess that doesn't happen.
No.
But I did find out that a penny reaches its terminal velocity at just like 50 feet.
Yeah.
So above 50 feet, it doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't go any faster.
I wonder if you were to drop it, if you could make it fall just straight vertical, if it would fall faster. Because it's not tumbling anymore. And then all that impact would go right into that one.
It would have to be spinning like a Frisbee. But you would have to have like perfect environmental conditions for that to happen. Anything. Yeah. It would just, its mass is so low.
Yeah.
It would be impossible to keep it on edge.
It's interesting though.
Well, being a hockey player, that's one of the things that I find really funny is that a hockey puck, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
There's something called a saucer pass in hockey. It's basically where it literally flies through the air like a flying saucer.
Do you do that on purpose?
Yes. Oh. It's a way to make a pass through other players, like defensemen, like getting the puck over their sticks, over the defenseman's sticks. So you can get it to raise however far off the ice you'd like, but when you take a slap shot, even, the puck is spinning like a Frisbee when it flies. So that's why it flies more or less fairly straight. But sometimes what will happen is the puck will get like knocked up on its edge. Yeah. It'll just roll forever like a tire.
Oh,
it's so annoying because it doesn't always roll straight. Sometimes it gets on an edge and starts making like this wide sweeping turn or whatever. It's such a pain in the butt.
Do they freeze hockey pucks before a game?
No.
I always heard that growing up.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. I don't know what a hockey puck's made out of.
Rubber.
Just solid rubber?
Oh, yeah. And it's not soft. It's not bouncy. It's hard.
Yeah.
They
don't put them in the freezer, though?
No.
They just throw them right on the ice? Oh, I always thought they did.
No, they just put them right on the ice. Well, think about this. The ice, really cold.
Yeah. But so at first...
So when the puck gets on there...
It eventually does probably freeze.
Yeah.
Does it change at all during the... No?
No. It's so hard, it doesn't really make much of a difference.
Oh. Do they wax them up like surfboards? So they go... No? None of that?
No, they don't wax. That would be really funny if they did. No. The biggest factor on how a hockey puck performs on the ice is how well the ice was zambonied, how smooth the surface is, and how long the ice has been skated upon.
How long between zambonis, or just how long, like do you get fresh ice or something?
Fresh ice, the puck slides very well.
Fresh, like they just took a big pond and froze it, or it's fresh, they just zambonied it?
Fresh, they just zambonied it. And it's got cut very well. There's no grooves left in the ice, whatever. When they do that, the puck will slide fairly easily from one goal to the other. You could stand in one goal and just do a light pass, and that'll probably make it all the way down to the other end with ease. But after 10 minutes of a period of hockey, the puck doesn't slide nearly as far. It's because all the turning and all the cutting on the ice, it creates ice shavings, which then go on top of the nice smooth ice, and then it creates grooves in the ice where your blades went and all sorts of stuff.
How do you like your toast?
Toasty?
You have any particular way of making your toast?
No.
You just use a toaster?
I just use a toaster. Have we been through this before?
I think this was also on the last episode.
Oh my God, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh. That's 2 episodes in a row. We've talked about stuff from our lost episode.
Yeah. We'll bring back, maybe next week we'll bring back the random topic generator. I thought about getting it started this morning, but it takes a while to get it going.
Takes a while. We got to get the crank out.
It's got to warm up a little bit.
Yeah. Got to get the glow plugs going.
Yeah. We did have one request to bring it back a long time ago, but maybe next one.
Well, we still regardless, I always enjoy the random topic generator because I never know what we're going to talk about when I come in here. I'm always blindsided. I think only once or twice that I ever actually have foreknowledge of a topic that we were going to be discussing because it was something I was supposed to give feedback for.
See, there's the problem, though, because you're supposed to be preparing for the next episode, and I guess you've forgotten already.
I got a short attention span. What do you want?
Have you worked on it yet? Do you remember what it was?
Have I worked on what yet?
The top 5 movies.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Okay.
I've done plenty of thinking, but I can't narrow it down to 5.
That's part of the work.
I know. I'm struggling. Man, I'm totally struggling trying to get that down to 5 movies. It's just so difficult.
All right.
Oh, last night I was at the gym with my wife.
Yeah.
We take this class, like a boot camp class. The woman who teaches the class will often have like her phone, playlists on her phone that play while we're doing the exercises or whatever.
Right.
While she's talking to us. She totally had an 80s playlist last night. It was sweet. It was absolutely awesome.
Were you watching her phone or were you listening in with her?
She doesn't have her earbuds in. It's plugged into the sound system in the
Oh, the lady leading the...
Yes.
Not just some lady exercising next to you.
Not just some lady. This is the lady the lady who was leading the class plugs her phone into the PA system in the workout room. And so it plays through the PA system, but she talks to you we got to do these exercises. You're doing this stuff in this order. Okay, do this, do that. But it's got like a soundtrack. But this was totally an 80s soundtrack. It was awesome. I loved it.
I can't even think of 80s music.
Yeah, you can.
All I can think of is Bon Jovi. I've been trying to think for like a week.
What?
Maybe there's those guys. I don't remember now.
You are killing me, man. We could go, you can go hair metal, so you can talk about bands like Metallica, Whitesnake, Winger.
I know the bands, but I couldn't tell you. Maybe Metallica, because they were always on the radio.
They didn't start getting always on the radio.
The Puppets album or something.
They didn't really start getting on the radio until like the late 80s into the early 90s.
Yeah.
They played them on MTV a lot. Coolest show ever on MTV was Headbangers Ball. I used to stay up late on Saturday nights just to watch that show. And it's when it still had Matt Pinfield was on. And he was totally awesome. No, but I used to love that show. But 80s music, tons of it. Depeche Mode, Tears for Fears, ABC, Soft Cell, of course, you know the song. I'm trying to think of the name of the song now. Sometimes I feel I've got to run away. That song. That's Soft Cell. And then Plethora, man. You can go on for hours. Yeah, for literal hours, man.
I'll have to look for it.
So,
but it was blank to me right now.
It was totally an 80s soundtrack. There was 2 songs on the soundtrack that I did protest that I said weren't 80s songs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. One of which was Groove is in the Heart by Delight, because I don't think that was released in the 80s. That would have been 90 probably 92. I have to look that one up. There you go. Intern for your fact check. Delight.
See if she actually pays attention. See if she gets this far into the episode.
She should. We're not too far into it.
No.
So, anyway, random topic generator.
We'll bring that back. Maybe next episode.
Okay.
But toast. So you just use a toaster?
Just use a toaster.
That's it?
Yep.
And you like how it comes out?
It depends.
Are you particular?
Yeah. I don't like burned toast.
Do you toast it twice?
No. Who toasts it twice?
I like it to be nice and golden on both sides.
So you toast it on one side, then you turn it around?
I used to. I don't do that anymore.
Because it's a waste of time?
No, it's kind of. But you put a piece of toast in, you toast it, and you put a second piece of toast in. It doesn't toast the same. You got to keep adjusting it. One side gets hotter than the other. So we tried to get a toaster oven because I thought that would be great. With like the 2 hot rods along the top and the bottom. That doesn't work either. You got to flip that over. And it still doesn't get it. So now we got a new stove. so I broil it in the
You
oven.
broil your toast?
Yeah.
Oh,
You broil
man.
it for a minute, and then you flip it over and you broil the other side. It's fantastic. That's the
Green-
best way to make
Our
toast.
our Green Party listeners are going to freak out when
It's
they
just
find
for-
out that you're using your broiler in your stove.
It's probably more efficient because we make like 10 pieces of toast at a time.
Well, I guess if you're making a ton of toast,
I'm not
once-
making just one piece of toast.
Do you like cinnamon toast?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
When I remember as a kid, my grandmother used to make that, and it was the greatest. She would
Yeah.
make toast in her toaster oven, and she would butter it up, and it was perfect. It was golden brown,
Yeah.
and she would put cinnamon sugar on there. Oh man, whew, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Do you make it at home now?
Not really.
No.
We've talked about the fact that I'm not a foodie.
Well, that doesn't. That you
No,
have to
but listen,
It's
listen,
toast.
Okay, so the mornings that I eat breakfast
yeah.
at home, which
You
is
make something grand.
generally only
Oh.
generally only Saturday and Sunday. Most Saturdays and or Sundays, I literally walk downstairs after waking up, and I go right to the cereal bowls.
Really?
Grab a bowl and just pour a bowl of cereal, and then
What kind
of course
cereal?
whatever's in there. I'm a mixer. That
Oh.
sounds weird. A lot of people
Would you
don't
mix
do that.
like Cheerios and Raisin Bran or something?
I would totally do that. Yeah.
What other cereal do you have for breakfast? Are you eating like Kix or something?
So this is
Corn Pops?
this is something that my wife and I have talked about. First world problems, right? But we always
Yeah.
have like 5 or 6 different cereals in the
Yeah,
house.
we do
and,
too.
and it's always different stuff. My younger daughter likes Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so we'll often buy Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so that's almost always in there.
Yeah,
But we buy like Cracklin' Oat Bran, we buy
that's good. Too.
Quaker Oat Squares, which are actually pretty good.
Oh.
Every once in a while, I get surprised by a box of blueberry shredded wheat, which is totally
I've had
awesome.
that.
Oh, it's the frosted mini wheats, except for it's blueberry. So good,
Oh, interesting.
so good.
Hmm.
So we often have like several choices, and I don't like my daughters. They'll eat 3/5 of a box of cereal, and then the last little bit hangs out in the bag, and it's just like,
Yeah.
well, I don't want to just leave it there because it's not enough for me to have a bowl, but they don't seem too interested in it. I don't want it to go bad. Don't want it to go to waste. So I'll
Yeah.
just dump it into my bowl and then I'll
You
just
just
fill
mix
it.
all of them together? You don't like
Sometimes.
eat the first one and go back
No.
and you
I just dump them
mix-
together. Like
Oh.
yesterday,
So you have like Fruit Loops and like Cocoa Pops mixed together?
I would totally do that. Yeah,
Oh.
something I would do. Yesterday, when I got home from work, so I didn't have time to eat lunch yesterday at work because I was in meetings. So when I got home, I was just really hungry. So I just went immediately right for the cereal bowls, grabbed a bowl of cereal, and I mixed together blueberry mini wheats and Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah.
I've stumbled upon this, and this has been really good. It's Cheerios with craisins. If you can pour craisins on the top. Dried cranberry.
Yeah,
Dried
I'm not a
cranberries?
craisin fan.
Oh,
I'm not
but
a
it's
raisin
good, though,
fan either.
because you get a little bit of the tartness in there. They should make that cereal. I'm going to send them a message.
They make General Mills has a big facility in Buffalo,
Oh, yeah?
so the whole south ward of Buffalo smells like Cheerios.
Really?
Yeah, you just drive through there, it smells like Cheerios.
Hmm.
It's the weirdest thing. It smells
Yeah,
good. Don't
That's
get me wrong.
interesting.
Yeah, but I just mix my cereals together. I'm not particular
Oh.
about my cereals. I prefer cereals mixed together. I don't like to
Really?
eat just one cereal.
Oh.
And that's partly, obviously I have a decision-making disorder.
But still, like I could see mixing Raisin Bran and like Cheerios, but if you're mixing like Fruit Loops and Lucky Charms, those are just two competing flavors.
It doesn't matter.
Two weird textures. Do you mix like Cracklin' Oat Bran with Lucky Charms? Do you get the
Yeah.
oats? Oh,
Yeah, totally do that.
that's like having steak with ice cream on top. It's weird.
What's wrong with that? Like you've never done that before.
No.
So toast, I think the whole point behind that is I do not make toast.
You don't make... do you ever have eggs for breakfast?
Yes.
You don't make toast with your eggs?
No.
You make
Every
toast.
once in a while it's a bagel or an English muffin if we
Yeah.
have those, but I never
No
make
toast?
toast.
And never.
Never.
Oh.
Hardly ever. If my parents are in town, my dad likes toast, so I'll have the toaster out and I'll make toast. We don't keep bread in the house most of the time.
What?
And it's really weird.
I do not keep... What?
Well, first of all, our daughters don't eat sandwiches. Don't know why. They just refuse to eat sandwiches. I don't know what it is about it. They will sit there and eat slices of bread, plain.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they will not eat a sandwich.
Well, that's okay.
My wife doesn't eat sandwiches. I don't eat sandwiches. So we buy a loaf of bread and, we'll use maybe 6-8 slices out of it and the rest of it ends up going to waste. So we
Wow.
can't
That's so
can't
weird to me.
justify keeping a loaf of bread in the house.
You don't make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
No.
Grilled cheese sandwiches?
No, the girls hate those.
Ah.
See, I've told you before, my kids are un-American. No
What
grilled
about
cheese, no
BLTs?
hot dogs.
Do you eat those?
No.
I still love those growing up.
First of all, you can never put enough bacon on a BLT. I mean, if you put a half a pound of bacon on there, it's not enough. Second of all, as soon as you put tomatoes...
Yeah?
And
I used to eat it without the tomatoes.
And cold
so
lettuce.
Bacon and lettuce.
Okay, so...
No, the bacon's cold too.
Who puts cold bacon on a sandwich?
A lot of people.
Huh.
Maybe you should try that.
No,
nice
it's still
and crispy.
weird. The point is, when you put the other stuff,
Yeah.
the non-bacon on the BLT,
Yeah.
it makes the bread all soggy and yucky.
No, that's why you have to put Miracle Whip on it.
Oh, God, we're not having this discussion.
Miracle Whip.
I
It's
absolutely
like
hate...
protective barrier that keeps the bread from
absolutely
getting soggy.
hate mayonnaise. I have an aversion to mayonnaise. I can't look at mayonnaise. I can't smell mayonnaise. And it's sad because all it is egg whites and oil. That's it. That's all it is. There's nothing to it. I can eat egg whites, and I use oil in cooking, but there's just something about mayonnaise. In my head, I'm seeing a picture of it right now, and it's making my stomach turn.
This is something my dad would eat. He still eats it. It used to bother me when I was a kid, but I can slowly see I'm heading that way. He eats bananas and mayonnaise sandwiches.
Oh.
So now I can just eat mayonnaise sandwiches. It just tastes great. Something about it.
We have talked about this. Was this on the Lost episode too?
I don't know. I don't remember.
We've talked about mayonnaise before, and you want me raging? Let's just continue talking about mayonnaise. It is disgusting.
Mayonnaise is fantastic. You can make pasta salad out of it.
I can eat little bits of mayonnaise.
What about
you've made tuna fish sandwiches? My father always called it super tuna fish, but it's like tuna fish and mayonnaise and radishes and celery and all sorts of stuff mixed in.
That's good stuff.
I can eat that.
Mm-hmm.
I can eat egg salad, but
That
it's
has
got to
mayonnaise.
be a very dry egg salad. You can't have it.
Nice
You can't
and
have too
wet.
much. Oh, if it sticks to the wall, then it's got too much mayo in it.
Yeah, that's. You turn the spoon upside down. That's when you know it's ready. What about when you eat fish? Do you have tartar sauce?
No.
I've started making that recently too. That's so simple to make. So good.
What, tartar sauce?
Yeah.
I remember eating it as a kid.
Yeah. It's just mayonnaise and relish.
When we would have fish sticks,
Yeah.
those Gordon's fish sticks, of course.
Yeah.
We used to have fish every once in a while when the girls were little. We
Yeah.
called it crunchy fish because it was, fish sticks or fish fillets that were breaded or whatever. And they used to eat them, but now they just refuse.
Really?
Absolutely refuse.
Maybe you need to make them some tartar sauce. Maybe that's why they don't like sandwiches, because you don't have Miracle Whip. I do prefer Miracle Whip over Hellman's.
We keep a jar of mayonnaise in the refrigerator because Jen uses it to make...
You say it different, too.
Mayonnaise. Did you ever see the movie Officer and a Gentleman?
No.
It's got Richard Gere in it and Louis Gossett Jr.
Okay.
And a few other actors and actresses you'd probably know. But the guy's last name, Richard Gere's character's last name is Mayo. Of course, this is him going to boot camp, basically. So Louis Gossett Jr. is his drill instructor.
Yeah.
And he calls him Mayonnaise all the time. It's the way that Louis Gossett Jr. can say that. Mayonnaise. It just cracks me up. So, that's why I say mayonnaise all the time. But, I just cannot stand mayonnaise. It's just gross. It's gross.
It's good.
So gross.
Put some salt on it.
Well, I think that'll wrap it up today, Mr. Jason. What do you think?
I think that's good enough.
Okay, I think that's good enough for today. We are looking forward to getting some feedback. We will be having our poll open for another couple of weeks for the top 5 movies. We've gotten a few responses. We're waiting for a few more, and hopefully we get a good amount this time for top 5 movies. You can always contact us via our email. That's conversationalchaos@gmail.com. We do have a Twitter account, which is Converse Chaos. We have an Instagram, Reddit, your choice. You can see the show notes for this episode, and our contact information is all listed in there. So please reach out. If you're listening from a foreign country, we say this all the time, but if you're listening from a foreign country, please send us an email with your address, and we'll send you some kind of tchotchke, something entertaining and interesting. So I think that'll do it, Jason.
Sounds good.
All right. Everybody have a wonderful day.